Assalamu alaikum. Let me begin with a statement that will shake the very foundations of your comfort. The greatest threat to your life is not a pandemic. It is not an economic crash. It is not an enemy army on the border. The greatest threat to your existence is the slow, silent, and unseen erosion of your Iman. You are walking through a spiritual minefield. And if you think you are safe because you have a beard, or because you wear a scarf, or because you go to the masjid on Fridays, you have already lost half the battle. You are living in a time of unprecedented fitnah, where sin is not just normalized, it is celebrated, where right is called wrong and wrong is called right. So I ask you today, not for your money, not for your time, but for your soul, how will you survive? This is the ultimate survival guide to protect your Iman. And we will begin with the battlefield within your own chest. And I want you to sit with that for a moment. Let it sink in. Because we have been conditioned, my dear brothers and sisters, to fear the loud things. We fear the crash. We fear the visible enemy. We fear the sudden disaster. But the most lethal attacks are never the loud ones. They are the quiet ones. They are the ones that happen while you are asleep. They are the ones that happen while you are scrolling through your phone. They are the ones that happen while you are laughing at a joke that mocks your creator. They are the ones that happen while you are earning a living through means that are not pleasing to Allah. They are the ones that happen while you are sitting in a gathering where His name is not mentioned. They are the ones that happen while you are too busy, too tired, too distracted, too comfortable to even notice that your soul is bleeding. You are walking through a spiritual minefield every single day, every single step. And you don't even see the mines because they are disguised. They are disguised as entertainment. They are disguised as ambition. They are disguised as freedom. They are disguised as progress. They are disguised as self-care. They are disguised as modern living. And if you think you are safe because you have a beard, or because you wear a scarf, or because you go to the masjid on Fridays, or because you fasted in Ramadan, or because you give charity occasionally, or because your parents were pious, or because you were born into a Muslim family, if you think any of these things automatically guarantee your safety, I am here to tell you today, with all the love and urgency in my heart, that you have already lost half the battle. You are walking through this minefield blindfolded, and you don't even realize it. Wake up. Wake up before it is too late. Wake up before the erosion reaches your core. Wake up before your heart becomes so hard that the Quran sounds like poetry instead of guidance. Wake up before your salah becomes a physical exercise instead of a spiritual ascension. Wake up before your tongue becomes so accustomed to lies, to backbiting, to gossip, to vain talk that it forgets how to say La ilaha illallah with meaning. Wake up before your eyes become so accustomed to the haram that they no longer lower themselves in front of Allah. Wake up before your ears become so accustomed to music and filth that they no longer yearn to hear the call to prayer. You are living in a time of unprecedented fitnah. And let me be very clear about what that means. We are not talking about a time when sin is simply available. We are talking about a time when sin is not just available but encouraged. We are talking about a time when sin is not just encouraged but celebrated. We are talking about a time when sin is not just celebrated but packaged as virtue. Where the believer is mocked as backward. Where the one who prays is called extreme. Where the one who lowers their gaze is called weird. Where the one who speaks the truth is cancelled. Where the one who stands for Allah is isolated. Where right is called wrong and wrong is called right. Where modesty is seen as oppression and shamelessness is seen as liberation. Where the family unit is being dismantled in the name of progress. Where the boundaries between halal and haram are being blurred so thoroughly that even the believers are confused. This is the battlefield. This is the war zone. And the casualty is your Iman. So I ask you today, I ask you with the urgency of a man who sees a fire approaching. I ask you with the love of a brother who does not want to see you lose the most precious thing you possess. I ask you not for your money. I ask you not for your time. I ask you not for your votes or your applause. I ask you for something far more valuable and far more difficult to give. I ask you for your soul. I ask you for your attention. I ask you for your consciousness. I ask you to pause, to reflect, to question, to evaluate. How will you survive? How will you navigate this minefield? How will you protect the flame of Iman from the winds that are blowing from every direction? This is not a rhetorical question. This is the question of your life. This is the question of your eternity. This is the question that will determine whether you stand before your Creator on the day of judgment victorious or defeated. This is the question that will determine whether your book of deeds is handed to you in your right hand or your left. This is the question that will determine whether your destination is Jannah or Jahannam. How will you survive? And I tell you, my dear brothers and sisters, the answer is not in running away from the world. You cannot run away to a cave. You cannot isolate yourself from society. You cannot escape the fitnah by hiding. That is not the way of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He lived in the middle of the fitnah. He was surrounded by enemies. He was tested with hunger, with loss, with betrayal, with persecution, with war. But he did not lose his Iman. He did not weaken. He did not surrender. He stood firm. He fought. He persevered. And he triumphed. And he showed us the way. So this is not a guide on how to run away. This is a guide on how to stand firm. This is not a guide on how to hide from the storm. This is a guide on how to walk through the storm and come out stronger. This is a guide on how to protect your Iman when everything around you is trying to steal it. This is a guide on how to survive when the survival of your soul is at stake. This is the ultimate survival guide to protect your Iman. And we will begin with the battlefield. We will begin with the place where the war is truly fought. We will begin with the place where the enemy is most cunning, most patient, and most dangerous. We will begin with the battlefield within your own chest. Because that, my dear ones, is where the real battle is. Not in the streets, not in the courts, not in the parliaments, not in the media. The real battle is in your heart. And if you conquer that battlefield, the rest will fall into place. If you lose that battlefield, nothing else will save you. So I ask you once again, with the heaviest weight of responsibility on my shoulders, are you ready to fight? Are you ready to protect the most precious thing you own? Are you ready to wage war against your own soul? Are you ready to survive? Let us begin.